before we go through the 5 steps,
Mm.
perhaps you can just tell us at a high level what the React model is.
So the React model is a process that helps you go from 0 to 1. It doesn't, I think the total cost, if you went through each of them, would be about 150 quid. If you go through each of the stages, it's not a lot of money, but you will make a massive move if you go through the React model. So if you start with 0, as in the people we're describing, good role, but really unfulfilled. I want to be my own boss, but where do I start? By the end of going through the React model, you know exactly what you're doing. You've got a plan of attack for actually building up your idea, putting more meat on the bones, and you've got a clear, should we say, next steps towards being an entrepreneur, be it in 6 months, 3 months, 1 year, whatever it may be that's right for you. The React model is almost like moving you around in your current job, moving you around. So you move and eventually you stand up and do something. It's like you're stuck in a job. I call it the corporate train. You're stuck on the corporate train. This React model gets you up off your seat. It doesn't mean you jump the job, leave the job, as I said earlier, but it's the first few steps, very simple, but can be quite tough for people, but very simple to do and very cheap to do, but it gets you moving, and it's all about momentum.
Okay, 5 steps. It's called the React model because there are 5 letters. The first letter is the first letter is R, which stands for reach out.
Yes.
Why is that important? What does that mean?
Reach out is the simplest thing to do technically, and I think it's the biggest mindset shifter. So reach out is what I said earlier, is actually reach out to a colleague, a peer, or a friend, 1 or 2 of them, meet up, maybe have a coffee, a beer, and just give them 15, 20 minutes about your idea. So that's where you say, I wouldn't mind getting your view on this. I am thinking of starting my own business. And then that's not just that. Well done. Thank you very much. What do you think of the football last night? Actually talk about your idea, why you want to do it and what you're thinking. It doesn't have to be complete, but just talk about it. The more you talk about it, the more you make that mindset change. So reach out is be brave enough to tell someone. Now, obviously I would say always tell your partner first, whatever. This is outside of your partner, but I would say this is friends, peers, people you trust, ex-colleagues, colleagues. This is actually just starting to verbalize what you're thinking. And it's a massive game changer. And it sounds really simple. I did it for 2 or 3 of my colleagues, and I was a different person at the end of those meetings. So it's simple, free. A part might cost you a beer or a coffee, but go out and reach out and talk to people. So that's the R. That's the first.
So, but is there not a concern here that if I have got a brilliant idea, and I go and start to talk to people about it and share it, that they're going to steal my idea and do it instead of me?
Yeah, there's a chance, but it will never happen. I can honestly say that. I mean, I might be wrong, but one person I spoke to, first of all, said exactly that. They said, Ken, I don't think that's a great idea. And also someone could copy it. So I thought, okay, thanks for your feedback, but I'm still doing it. No one's got the time to even, start to copy it, because most people you'll talk to will be like you. And you might be lucky enough to know another entrepreneur, but most people are so stuck in their lane with their jobs, their careers, life, everything. They're not going to say, I'm going to put everything on hold now and I'm going to think about what Ken's told me. I'm going to try and copy it, work out where he is at the moment, get ahead of him. It doesn't happen. When I used to work in marketing, I remember this is the days we used to do big adverts, and people were worried it might get out to the competition before, say, the radio, TV, press, whatever it was, internet, Facebook ads launched. And I think, well, no one is going to copy it overnight. So we are paranoid that people copy it. I honestly believe if you are talking to someone about the idea, you're ahead of them anyway. And most people just haven't got the time or the inclination. Or if they're your friend, I would argue it wouldn't be a very good friend if they literally carbon copied what you've done ahead of you. So I understand the concern, but you're only giving them a rough idea what you're doing. You're not giving them a business plan. You're not giving them all the costings, because you might not be at that stage, but it's just getting out of your head and obviously take into account what they say. But the benefit is more hearing yourself say something versus the feedback.
And I guess the big difference is you have taken the step, you've got the inertia, you're actually doing something about it instead of just sitting there. So even if you share it with somebody, they don't have that same inertia as you. They're just going to be stuck.
Absolutely. You've built you don't realize it, but thinking about it, making that first step, talking to someone, you've already put some small steps in. And they're, as I say, they're the hard ones. So You might get someone goes home to their partner saying, yes, I bumped into Ken. Believe it or not, he's doing this. I think that's a really good idea. Maybe I should do that. But the next morning, that person's into the swing of work or whatever, and it moves on.
Mhm.
No, there's always a chance, but I would say very, very unlikely.
And should I be worried that, I reach out to you, Ken, and say, Ken, I've got this idea and I'd love to chat it through with you. I share my idea and you look at me and laugh and just say, that's such a stupid idea. What are you thinking of, Jeremy? You're nuts.
Yeah. You know what? As I say, one of the people I first spoke to was quite dismissive of my idea. For me personally, that just made me want to do it even more. Now, I don't know if that's good or bad, but it made me more stubborn and dig my heels in. But I listened to the feedback. I just didn't necessarily agree with it. So it's someone might say you're nuts, but I would actually argue they may be right. So you might have to rethink, but don't take it personally. It's not about the details. It's about just talking about this idea. The other thing is, dare I say, they may actually be a little bit envious, a bit jealous that you're doing something and they should be doing the same. And they don't want to admit it. And dare I say, ego is pride, everything, and people don't want to admit it. So it's quite easy to say, oh, I think that's mad. And I actually would put my house on it that when I mentioned to friends, family, wider family, when I actually left to start my own thing, I reckon I was a talk of the town for about a month in the family and wider family.
Nutty Ken. He's just.
And he had a good in the film industry. You know what he's doing now? He's joining people up. I think he's got mad. I don't know what they're going to do for paying the mortgage. I think he's had a moment, whatever.
Right, yeah, midlife crisis.
Midlife crisis. I always thought he was a little bit unusual, all this kind of stuff. And you know what? I didn't hear any of that because once you get past go, you're off and you're focusing. But you're going to get...
Presumably, you need to talk to a few people to get some proper feedback. So how many people should you talk to? And what happens if, I don't know what the number is, let's say it's 5. If all 5 of them say, that's a crazy idea, do you still push through or do you listen to that?
Well, I would argue just 2 to 3. I think if you go to 4, 5, 6, 7, you're almost going too far. Even if it's just 1, I think is better than nothing. But I would say 2 to 3 is quite good. Pick different people, and just say to them it's a very rough idea. I don't think you've got enough when you tell them. Most of my clients haven't got enough for there to be really, really bad feedback coming back. It's not like, here is my plan. I'm going to make £1 million by next month. I'm going to be a multimillionaire by next year. I'm going to have a yacht 3 years later. These are just ideas people have got. You can say, I haven't really worked this out yet, but I'm thinking of doing this. A lot of, obviously, if they're my clients and we've had a chat before they go ahead and do this React model, I'd like to think we've finessed it a little bit in our chat. It doesn't mean that it's perfect, but it's given them a bit more.
So they're not going to their people raw. You've primed them a bit and helped them think it through and how to present it and how to structure it.
Yes, and absolutely, just to be a bit more confident of talking about it. So it's, you're going to get some feedback, but I would take it, listen to it, make a decision around it. But I've not had anyone yet I've worked with who's come back and said, I'm not going to do it anymore because I've been absolutely slammed by everyone. It's more people have been quite supportive, or people are a bit in disbelief. I'm thinking of leaving, even if I'm staying initially. It's more that is the feedback.
Yeah. So I've taken that first step. I've realized I've got something that I want to explore. I've spent some time talking to you. Yeah. And now I've reached out to a couple of friends, 2, 3 friends, and I've shared the idea with them to get their feedback. I'm going to do this. Yep. The next thing is E, which is attend events. Yes. Why is that important?
Well, this is really important. This is sometimes the hardest part of the React model for a lot of my clients. So E is actually getting out there and attending some events. I'm not talking my own view, going to huge conferences. I don't actually think they deliver. I'm talking, if you now wanted to be say now you wanted to build a app in the music industry and it's all around musicians and everything, is to try and find events where there's panels talking about the future of music, future musicians. If you wanted to be a consultant in AI in a very specific area, go to panels. There'll be loads of them at the moment talking about AI. Go to small focused events where the area you're focused on could be relevant. Go along. Usually most of these events are free. In London, cities, go along to the event, sit there, listen to the panel. And then afterwards, when you chat to people and they say, what do? You can say again, I'm thinking of doing this. You don't have to have a finished product. But what you're doing now is the R was talking to people you know, now is actually going out there and getting a feel for the area and the market and the people in that market that you could be working with. And in some cases, working as a competition too. But you've got to get out there and you've got to meet people and you've got to see your future community or market. And that's what it is about. Go to events and get out there. This, for a lot of my clients, this is really tough because, with all due respect to some of them, in the past, they had a title and a job. So if they went to a
Mm.
corporate networking event, people will gather around them because of who they are. I'm being unfair, but that's most
Yeah,
likely true.
there's someone though. I get it. Yeah,
There's
yeah.
someone, people talk to them, people laugh at their jokes, whatever it may be. Going to an event and saying, I am now, instead of, in my case, Ken Valledy, director of this in the past, I'm now Ken Valledy and I'm starting this business. That feels quite raw. That feels quite
Mhm.
exposed. You feel a bit like, am I good enough if these people have already got things going? And that's where a lot of my clients struggle. This whole thing around networking and being present. But it's absolutely crucial. I still believe, even in today's world of technology, you can't 100% rely on, messages, LinkedIn and everything. You've got to go out there and be known. And don't,
So who am I looking for when I go to these events? Am I looking for more sounding boards? Am I looking for potential customers? Am I looking for partners? Am I looking for investors,
yeah,
mentors? Who am I looking for when I go to those
the
events?
first 2 or 3 events, I would say you're not looking for anyone. I'll be honest. So you're going along. It's a subject that you've got an interest in because you want to build a business in this area. Don't put pressure on yourself. Go along, listen to whatever the panel is, whatever the discussion is. Usually it's panels. When they have the networking afterwards, chat to people. Have an open brain. Don't go there with, I've got to get a new business client. I've got to get more knowledge. Just go there and think, well, I'm learning. This is almost like desk research, but on my feet. This is real life face-to-face research. Talk
Got
to
it.
people, express what you're doing, relax. And you never know, and I found this when I started doing this all those years ago, is people say, oh, that's really interesting. You should have a chat with so-and-so because they're in a similar area. Or actually, you should come to this event next week because they're talking about that. The more people you talk to with this, I would say, informal approach, rather than going there and putting huge pressure on yourself, the more you take it easy, should we say, the more options that come from each event you go to. And over time, not only do you build knowledge up, Jeremy, about your idea, and you might tweak it a little bit as a result of that, but also you start to build the all-important network.
Yeah.
And I know when I first started, people said, oh, I met this chap, ex-beer marketing guy, and now he's looking to connect corporates and startups together. But even though that's not the words I'd like to use, I was almost getting an identity in the community. And it's amazing. If you're quite succinct to what you're looking to do, people would say, oh, I bumped into this chap or this lady the other day, they're ex-corporate, but they're thinking of doing this. So all of a sudden, there's kind of, I would say, dare I say, marketing happening for you.
Yeah. Someone taught me a long time ago, and I've always stuck by it, which is when it comes to networking,
Hmm.
it's not who you know, it's who knows you.
Yep.
And by stepping out into those events, you're exposing yourself to the risk of making those connections where, as you describe, people will go and talk about it and say, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, this person, go talk.
Yeah. It, one big difference between the startup world and the corporate world is people, I believe, are more willing to help in the startup world. So if you go to someone and say, I've got an idea and this is what I'm working on at the moment. So if you went to a networking event next week and someone said, as they do, what do you do? And you say, I'm ex Nike. I'm now looking to do a side hustle in this area. Most people say, oh, so that's interesting. So,
Mm,
what is it in? What are you looking to do here? I might better help you. People are much more open. When you go to a corporate networking event, people are very kind of, I'm this, I'm a big title, and you
yeah,
don't say too much. You don't want to give it away to the competition. It's very closed and it's very kind of, in a way, quite transactional, and it's not that enjoyable. When you're going out to a startup event or you're trying to build your own business, networking, I think, is much more let it flow, chat to people, and over time you will build awareness up for what you're doing. But that happens over time. I would say just go along and enjoy. One thing I got was the more startup events I went to at the start, I really thought, wow, this is amazing. I mean, I'm at a panel in London. I'm having at the time, I think, a couple of beers and a pizza. I want to chat to that person afterwards. That panel was really interesting. That made me think a bit about this. God, I really enjoyed that. And as I got on the train back out home, I thought, God, I don't mind this. Rather than staying late in the office or working late for, AB InBev as it was in my case, I actually felt like I was out doing something exciting. And so much so that I still go to 1 or 2 events a week, 11 years later. I always go to an
yeah,
event, at least one every week, because I think it energizes me and I'm always learning something and I always meet
yeah.
interesting people.
And we met at an event.
We
Like
did.
we met at a random conversation and we got talking and said, ah, you
Absolutely.
should come on the show. So yes, exactly. It works.